You've probably heard it a million times, right? That mind maps are this incredible, game-changing tool for learning. But if you're anything like me, you've also stared at a totally blank page and just frozen. Well, today, we're going to figure out why that happens and, more importantly, how to finally make this thing actually work for you. Yeah? Does this look a little too familiar? You sit down, you've got your pen, you're ready to create this beautiful, sprawling map of ideas, and then crickets. Nothing happens. You just feel overwhelmed or confused, or maybe even a little silly. If that's you, trust me, you are so not alone. And the best part, it's probably not even your fault. You see, here's the big secret I uncovered. The problem isn't the mind map. It's not the technique. It's actually these two deep-seated hidden habits that were drilled into us all through school, and they're secretly sabotaging the whole process. So let's dive right in. The real reason mind maps fail. And it all kicks off with something we don't even realize we're doing, not trusting our own brains. I want you to picture a typical lecture or meeting. What do most of us do? The second someone starts talking, we start writing, trying to capture every single word. We basically turn into a human photocopier. And why? Because deep down we have this fundamental belief that we can't trust our own memory to hold on to that information even for like 10 seconds. We tell ourselves this story, right? Oh, my memory is just a sieve. If I don't write it down now, it's gone forever. But here's the thing. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because we never give our brain a chance to actually do the work of remembering and processing, it never gets any stronger. It's like never using a muscle and then being surprised it's weak. And this right here, this is the whole problem in a nutshell. Real, genuine learning doesn't happen when we're just documenting. It happens in that little gap, the space between the information coming in and the information going out. When you act like a photocopier, you close that gap. You completely bypass your brain. So, okay, how do we fix this? How do we break that photocopier habit and actually let our brain do its job? Well, it all starts by intentionally creating that learning gap again. And the solution is a beautifully simple idea called delayed note-taking. It is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of trying to write word for word as you hear it, you listen. You listen for a whole sentence, or maybe a whole paragraph, or hey, maybe even for a few minutes before you let yourself write a single thing down. You literally just force a delay. Now, this tiny little change in your routine does something absolutely massive inside your head. It activates this powerful cognitive switch, and it flips your brain between two totally different modes of thinking. So when that delay is really short, your brain goes into what's called juggle mode. It's this high-stress, frantic state where you're just desperately trying to hold on to a few words before they vanish. It is exhausting, and it doesn't work very well. But when you make that delay longer, your brain is forced to switch into organizing mode. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. And you can actually see it right here. With no delay, that's our human photocopier. The mental effort is low, but guess what? The memory gain is practically zero. With a short delay, you hit that awful, high-effort juggle mode for almost no reward. But now, check out what happens when you introduce a longer delay. Your brain flips into organize mode. And here's the wildest part. Your mental effort actually goes down from that frantic peak, while your memory gain absolutely skyrockets. You get more for less work. It's amazing. This is the perfect way to think about it. Juggling is like trying to carry all your laundry in your arms. It's spilling everywhere, you're stressed, you're gonna drop something. Organizing mode is when your brain finally puts the basket down and starts neatly folding things away into the right drawers. It's calmer, it's smarter, and it's way more effective. Okay, so delaying our notes is fix number one, but that leads us straight into the second huge barrier, what I like to call the more notes illusion. This is our obsession with just quantity. Come on, we were all taught this, right? More is better. A 30-page study guide just feels more secure, more comprehensive than a 3-page one. But what the research actually shows is that the opposite is often true. Longer word-for-word notes often lead to worse performance because it's a giant red flag that you were just transcribing, not actually thinking. This is a classic cognitive trap called the illusion of learning. It's when you're doing something that feels incredibly productive, like writing pages and pages of notes, but in reality, you're achieving almost nothing. You end up with this huge stock of paper that you'll never look at again, feeling like you accomplished a lot when very little learning actually took place. So, how do you break free? You have to do something that is going to feel completely wrong at first, I promise. You have to force yourself to write less, way less. Okay, so how does this actually look in practice? Let's walk through it. We pretty much always start here, don't we? With a big, dense block of normal linear notes. It's got all the info, but it's buried. It's hard to see what's important. So, the very first move is to just pull out the key ideas into simple bullet points. All you're doing is cutting out the fluff, the filler words, the extra stuff. And notice nothing important has been lost. We've just gotten rid of the clutter. And then for the final move, we take those clean, simple bullet points and we start arranging them in space. We use simple arrows to show how they connect instead of writing out sentences like this leads to that. And just like that, look what happens. You naturally, without even trying, end up with the foundation of a mind map. So when you put these two big ideas together, delaying your notes and dramatically dropping your word count, you unlock the real secret to all of this. It really all comes down to this one simple, powerful phrase: less on the page, more in the membrane. The goal is not to create a beautiful, comprehensive document. The goal is to force the learning to happen where it actually matters, inside your head. And honestly, for me, this was the biggest aha moment of all. We've been thinking about this completely backward. A mind map isn't a technique you force onto a blank page from the start. It's the natural, visual result you get when you stop transcribing and you start actually deeply thinking. So it all boils down to just two new habits you need to build. That's it. First, delay your note-taking. You got to give your brain that gap it needs to switch into its powerful organizing mode. And second, slash your word count. Force yourself to be concise to trigger deeper thinking. You know, everything we've talked about today is really about breaking the old, broken rules we were all taught about learning. So I'll leave you with this question. Which rule are you going to break first? The one that says you have to write everything down immediately, or the one that says more notes are always better?